Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1032A, and today's date is July 26, 2016, and the title of the episode is The Economic Storm is Intensifying, and It's Getting Worse. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, today we see the stock market has finished down, gold is down a little bit, but still holding steady, and we are seeing more and more companies out there letting us know that they'll be laying off more people. We see eBay. They're preparing to cut about 2,400 people. Looks like this is right around the corner. And as we can see, this entire economy, it is losing steam and losing steam really fast. The manipulation that the U.S. government central bankers have been using is completely falling apart. And we can see that corporations like Caterpillar, which we discussed before, where they've posted 43 consecutive months of declining global sales, it is just getting worse. And what they're looking at right now is that they're not expecting an upturn at all. And it looks like they're going to be restructuring in 2016, and they're going to be laying off a lot more people. And Caterpillar right now, what they're doing is they're blaming the BREXIT and the turmoil in Turkey. Now, we've been tracking Caterpillar for quite a while. This just didn't happen. They were experiencing this for a very long time, 43 months. And all of a sudden, they're using the excuse Turkey and the BREXIT. It's almost like the United States government central bankers coming out saying the weather, that is the problem. This is why we're not seeing an increase in retail sales, and we know this is fake, phony, and false. Now, today, all over the corporate media, we see new home sales. They've come out, and the corporate media is out there telling us how great housing is. Now, last month, we saw new home sales tumble the most in 8 months. And then we saw some revisions. And now the latest data from the Census Bureau shows that in June, new home sales surged by 25.4%. Now, when we look at this number they're giving us right now is the highest number reported since 2008. And we know how bad it was in 2008. And I've been talking to people in different areas. I spoke to someone that was in Long Island, New York, and people there have been trying to sell their homes. And these are nice homes. They started out at $679,000. They have dropped their price by $120,000. They kept it on the market. They finally took it off and said there was just no traffic. What we are seeing right now is what we saw right before the 2008 crash. Now, to put this entire thing into perspective, and I know the corporate media, I know the U.S. government, they're all out there telling us how great housing is. Well, new home sales, they are at the level at this point all the way back to 1963. So remember the drop in 2008. We've had a climb up since 2008, and we finally hit 1963 levels. We're nowhere near a full recovery. Actually, this is a complete disaster. And we know that housing prices are coming down. We've been discussing it. Of course, the corporate media, everyone else out there is telling us that things are increasing. Now, I look around the country, and I just mentioned that Long Island house. I see prices continually falling, dropping. People can't sell their houses. And I've been receiving email from all over the country where people are saying, listen, what is happening is true. It's happening in my area. I've been trying to move my house, and I have to continually lower the price. Shiller came out today, and they reported that home price growth in May tumbled for the third month in a row. In fact, prices have come down 0.23% since March. This is the biggest drop since June of 2014. Now, what we're seeing here is housing is starting to crumble. The bubble is popping. We talked about San Francisco. We talked about the luxury home market in New York. And when we look around the rest of the country, we are seeing prices continually come down. Because what's happening is the traffic is drying up. As the traffic dries up, guess what? No one can buy the homes. No one's going to buy the homes. They don't need mortgages. We're seeing mortgages decline. Since mortgages are declining, the housing market is starting to pop. And this is exactly what we are seeing. Now, when we look at the rest of the economy and we look at different sectors of the economy, we see it is completely falling apart too. We look at the service sectors, and market is reporting that the U.S. service sector is at a 5-month low. New business slowed. And they're saying the U.S. service sector remains stuck in low gear at the start of the third quarter of 2016. And what we're seeing is manufacturing declining. We're seeing service decline. And the situation in the United States and globally is getting worse and worse day by day. The storm is intensifying. And the U.S. government central bankers, they're racing against time right now. Because we know they don't want a black swan. They've been telling us the economy is improving for all of these years. And if it all of a sudden comes down without them having a story, how is this going to look? The Baltic Dry Index right now, just like we thought it was going to happen, has dropped to 696 points, down 13 points. Here we go again. This little scheme they have running where they push these statistical numbers up to make it look good, they cannot hold it there. It gets worse and worse, and what happens is they push these numbers up, they do whatever they possibly can, and they drop even harder. We see Italy. The banks are looking for this €5 billion bailout from Monte Paschi before Friday's stress test. They want the currency in there before this test comes up. Because we know that once this test goes through, it's going to show that these banks, they're going to collapse. Now, Reuters is reporting that the amount of QE stimulus being pumped into the world financial system has never been higher. And it's going to get bigger right now. Now, we know the central bankers, they're in overdrive. We know the economy is rapidly falling apart. And we see the ECB, we see the Bank of Japan, they're buying around 180 billion of assets a month. And this is coming from Deutsche Bank. And what they're predicting right now is that this is going to increase. And actually, when we look at this, the 180 billion of assets every single month, this is larger than at any point since 2009. Even when the Federal Reserve's QE program was in full flow. They have never stopped QE. They have continued. What they've done is the Fed has pushed QE. Then they said, okay, now it's the ECB's turn. Now it's the Bank of Japan's turn. Now it's all of our turn. They can't stop. They need to continually do this because if they stop, the economy collapses. And if the economy collapses without them bringing it down, everyone is going to blame them. And this is why they're getting prepared to collapse the system on their own terms. They just need a story. They need someone to blame. And this is why everyone needs to get ready and prepared. If you haven't been preparing, well, guess what? Time is running short right now. You had a gift. You had a gift to prepare during this period. You had a gift of getting gold and silver. And from the world events and from what's happening here inside the country, the elections coming up, well, that gift, it's coming to an end. And this is why you need to prepare it. If you're going to Costco, if you're going to Sam's Club, if you're going to the supermarket, continually shop in those places. Get what you need. Look at Venezuela. We see hyperinflation there. People are running across the border to get food. People are fighting to get food. Their currency is being devalued every single day, and it's getting harder and harder. The same thing is going to happen here. If you're going to lifereliance.com and you're ordering over the internet, guess what? Keep doing it. Get the emergency food. Don't stop. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have supplies. Because the situation is just going to accelerate and it's going to get worse. We see Obamacare. This is a major disaster right now. 16 co-ops. They have failed, collapsed. That's it. They are done. Well, guess what? There's 7 co-ops remaining. The rest of the co-ops, they're not doing too well. Maine Community Health Options, they're losing money, and this is reported in 2015. Going into 2016, it's getting worse. Wisconsin's co-op, Common Ground Healthcare Cooperative, initially exceeded its enrollment projections in 2014 and 2015, but guess what? The co-op right now is losing $43.2 million since last year. And what we're seeing here is the numbers that Obama is reporting where, now 20 million people have health insurance. These are people that are actually rolled over who already had health insurance, that lost their health insurance, that had to go into Obamacare health insurance. So basically what we're seeing here is this healthcare system that he created has helped no one. Spent billions and billions of dollars. Everything is defaulting. Premiums are rising. This in no way helps the American people. And guess what? Our government knew this. This is why they exempted themselves from it. This is why they said, you know something? We don't want this. We'll keep what we have because we know what's going to happen with this. So with all of this that we're seeing right now, it's just going to intensify. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. As we've been tracking this day by day by day, from the facts that we've been looking at, the economic indicators we've been looking at, what are we seeing? We're seeing everything come true. Day after day, we are seeing housing falling apart, retail falling apart, GDP getting worse. We're seeing the Fed, the ECB, the Bank of Japan pushing QE to the highest levels to keep the economy functioning. And all of this is so they can blame this collapse on another group or another country. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.